just loosened these few screws around the outside of this bigger panel right here. You can see it. Drop this panel down, it just swings down. It'll hold on those. You might want to reinforce it if you need to. There's a reverse light right here, which is what we're going to tie into to be able to put this remote camera on the back. So what we need to do is thread these things, RCA jacks. We're going to send them through the outside of the vehicle, bring them right through here. Once you remove this access panel to the back of the latch, you can kind of see the latch right up here, and it's on this wire right here. If you follow it all the way back, you can see the latch. This is where the license plate hooks up. You only use these top two usually anyway, so I'm going to pop that rivet right there, extend that hole just a little bit, and feed those two RCA jacks through there, and then tie in through and hook up to the reverse light for the backup camera. Okay, so what I found is I widened that hole, and the easiest way to get that little right there looking gasket out is to actually drill it out from the top side. So here's your license plate area, right? Drill this section out, get your little rubber garment. They're all but, 25 cents at the auto store, and it fits in there perfectly, but allows you to feed in those wires. So I'm going to bring those wires through here. Camera's going to mount up here, license plate on, show you that next. So once you have your hole, you're going to thread your RCA jacks, power and video cables through there. I trimmed a little bit off of the second one so it would not pinch the other one going through. You can actually cut those off and make them wire them yourself, but then they pop through just like that. Okay, I'll show you how to wire that over there. All right, so once you're done with the outside, this is some high-tech cover up, so you can't see the license plate, but that's how it mounts up. Wires in the bottom of this grommet area there that comes on the inside. So the wires are through here. Obviously I'm going to stick the garnet in there when I get finished and put a little silicone in it to seal it up so it's tight and there's no moisture or water getting in there. Now we take these two, the video wire, which is the yellow, and the red, which is the hot lead, is supposed to be wired up over to this reverse light right here. So the way we're going to do that, I'll show you next. Okay, can't really see it, but where I was at up in there was difficult to get, so I'm going to pop this panel off right here. You do this with the shoot, I think it's what is it, 11 millimeter. Take these two bolts out and this will slide right off. It should. Then you gain access to the reverse light, which I have on right now. And if you're curious how to get that in play there, you make sure the emergency brake is on, and then go ahead and pop your put your foot on the brake. Don't start the engine, move it over to auxiliary, the key, turn it to the auxiliary lead, and then turn around and push on the brake, pull down, put it in reverse, and it'll give you access to that. And the reason we want to do that is we want to test that. Okay, so thing I learned when pulling these off, Toyota's years of technology of design have found a way to just lift up on this and then pull out on this bracket in the back. Okay, you see that little white, there she is, little white bracket right under there, this little guy. You want to pull forward on it so it doesn't break. They're easy enough to replace if you bust it out, but that'll gain you access to this, and then we'll pull this light out right here. Okay, once you're able to pop this off, there's a little clip right here. See that one? A little pincher on the side. Just pinch that in with both fingers like this. Just grab it from this side, pinch it, and pull. It's a little awkward, but it comes off very easy, so don't break that thing. I'm sure it's $4.99.99 or something. Okay, once you have that off, you got your car in reverse, and I've got the tail lights on, but the car is basically in reverse. And the only reason I'm doing that is because that kit right there for the tail light, they're both in one, and they come through this set of wires right here. Okay, so once I get it like this, and you take your tester and you poke through here and figure out which wire it is. And you can see my tester's lighting up right there on that fourth wire, which when we look in the back here on the Toyota Sequoia is that blue wire right there. Okay, I recommend testing it, but that's the wire we want to splice into, because that indicates that when the vehicle's in reverse, it'll turn on. Last thing when testing these wires back here, you can test it in many different ways, but this is the easiest thing that I've found. I went and put the car in park, and now this was the hole right there that has the blue wire attached to it in reverse. You see it's not lighting up now because I put the car in park. So you can test to see if it's in another hole, and there it is. So it's in that hole now, which is a different wire for park. So if you're doing this by yourself, the easiest way is to have somebody sit in there and give you a hand and put it in that hole right there, and the light should turn on when the vehicle's in park, or excuse me, in reverse. Okay. So once you have this through and you've got your wires coming out here, the ones coming over there to the reverse light. Okay, I just plugged in the video to run all the way to the front. Now it's just hanging there in the front of the car all the way to the front. I'm going to test it. Then you take your power cable, and that's the one I wanted to show you right here. All I did was splice that into that blue wire we talked about. Okay, so that's got the power cable running over to and connecting to the RCA right there. Okay, and that will keep everything in this back end, and we will then thread it through these locations right here. We'll run these wires will tuck back up in there, you'll never see them. And then we'll take the wires and run them along here, down through here, through the headliner, and all the way to the front, so you can tie it in. So let me run you up there and show you what it looks like when it's operable. And right now all you're going to see is the ceiling. And this is a Jensen, as we described before. Turn it on. You put it in reverse after you put your brake on. And when it warms up here, should turn on here in a second. Okay, so you see the front of it here. All we're doing is testing to make sure that the wiring that we got back there is correct. And okay, there it is. I don't know if you can see that with the glare a little bit. You're just looking at the ceiling in the garage, but it's operable. Okay, so that's the key thing. So what we can do then, now that we know it's functioning and working, we can tuck the wires, put everything back together, and then come back in here and work on, getting the dash put together. Okay, one more time I'll try and show you this just to clarify. These are the connections that I made, one to that blue wire we talked about, and one to the black, which is the ground. Okay, they basically go in that little attachment based off of our test light. Okay, you push that back over there, you run the power feed back over to your set of RCA jacks, and you plug into the red one, which is hot, and that leads back out to your license plate area where the camera is, and so the yellow one goes up to the front. So we'll begin putting this away now. Okay, I want to stress again that there's no rhyme or reason. I've seen a couple of other different ways that Toyota says that you can do this, or other people have done it, so you can do it. But now that you see it all put back together, it goes in very easily with this access panel on the 2005 Sequoia. It's much easier to come through this. And so I just fashioned a garnet there. You can see it. Put a little silicone adhesive on it. Can add a little more to the outside as well. Double check to make sure that after you get this all wired up and everything, that the brake lights and the reverse light and obviously the camera is functioning. And once you have all this put back in there, then we can go ahead and try and move forward on sealing it up. So I'm going to put this panel back in there. But before I do, I've got to take this that runs. This is the one coming from the camera. This is the one that's coming from the front of the stereo up there. Okay, it's going to plug in. So we've got to route it all the way through. In order to do that, I've got to bring it through all of this wiring and hide it through the headliner to go to the front. Pretty easy to get it through the headliner. Don't let that intimidate you. Actually start from this side up here and probably come through the headliner first. Bring it through this and zip tie it to these locations, bring it into here, and then secure this before I lock down anything. So let me work on that a little bit and I'll come back. Okay, I found to get this access panel off so that we can run our wire up through here. Lay that light down there so you can see it. Okay, is just to drop this down. It's just those little white connectors there, typical little things that pop loose. Okay, you don't want to pull on the light fixture, which is located right there. Okay, don't pull on that. It's fastened, but I don't think we're going to have to take that off because we're only trying to get the wire through there and then around that corner. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is you just start popping these. You just start popping these rubber garnets off. Just work them loose a little bit. We're just going to get a wire through this casing. You may have to put a little plug hole right here because this is all one feed right through there. Okay, or if you want to, you can fish it through that bundle and try and take this wire through there. It's not very big, but some of these you have to work out pretty good to deal with them. I spared you the 35 minutes it took to pull this grommet here out. This one, pull it out of here through here so you can get kind of a straight line. Took this coat hanger, which used to be straight, and put it through here and then pull the little pull rope back through. You can use anything you want, but the goal is that when you feed this wire up into here and you go through, well, let me get some light on it so you can see it. You can see where the wire is going up and into. Okay, it pops out right there. Now the goal here is to have this feed go through here, up and around, down that way, and right along here, connect, and we put this back together. So I'll show you how that's done once I get that wire pulled through here. Okay, made it through here with a little pull rope. They even make some, when you're pulling cables for Ethernet cables in your house and stuff, they make a liquid that makes it slick up in there and doesn't hurt the wires, and just pull it right through. You can work it, just don't break anything through here. This garnet here is big, bulky, but it's pliable, and the best thing is that it's weatherproof, so you don't want to puncture any holes in it or anything. So I'm going to bring it up in here, but it dawned on me I might not need this head on there if this cable's not long enough to make it all the way to the dash and routing it around. So this is one of the longest vehicles, you know, that you might come across. So, you know, I'll let you know before the end of this video whether or not there's room enough for it to make it. For right now, I'm going to bring it back up through here, route it down and around. Okay. From here, the wire will come around here. We need to zip tie it, hold it up there. I split this grommet right there just a little bit, tucked it through there, and then brought it up inside. So I can get it up in here where you can see it. I don't know if you can see the wire right there, black wire leading over here. And then I'm just going to start tucking those up in there. So, give me just a minute. Okay, the one thing you definitely want to do is keep this wire here out of the way of, you know, parts that can split it and cut it. So, give it a little slack, but then hold it up in there and start zip tying. Okay, once you get this zip ties back in place, you got it all tied up real good, secured. That's at this point. You just go ahead and put the panel back on, and let's see if we get the back shot. We'll put this panel back on, secure that, and then we'll start working the zip ties to the front. Okay, when you're tightening this panel back on, don't over tighten the screws because they will strip out. You got the panel back on. You bring your wire right along here, zip tie it, and then it takes a little bit of work, but you work this back into place. Get these this waterproofing through here that's exposed to the outside back in place, and finish securing this, and then we can go to putting the cosmetics back into place, the trim and molding. I found a little challenge here that'll show you the easiest way to get this, if you're going to do it this way. Some people just bypass this, run the wire, and do it any way you want to, but if you're trying to make everything cosmetically correct, this little plastic ring, if you will, that's around there, you need to pop it out. There's two little clips on either side right there. You just push in on that one, push in on the back side one, and then pop the whole thing out. I found if you put the back on first, it's easier to seat, and then it should slide right back in there and clip into place. Okay, so secured. We got the Jensen stereo up here. This is for wiring in the backup camera. Camera's operable on a manual. When you touch the screen, everything's working, but when you put it in reverse, it does not automatically light up. So to resolve that, there's a green pigtail that comes on the back of the Jensen here that has this little guy right here. You can see him sticking out here. He's in that harness right there that wired up before. Okay, so that green wire has to attach to the reverse light that leads to the back of the truck. After a lot of research, I'll save you a lot of time. Don't pull the panel off on the right side. There's a lot of different places that you could connect to it. I first attempted to try and locate it here on the passenger side, which is on the other side of the vehicle, and with no luck at all. And then I tried to locate it here, and unfortunately this is the only wire so far that you have to locate manually. And when I contacted Jensen for that particular radio, they said it's right here next to pillar B, which is right here behind the passenger side, or the driver's side, excuse me. And underneath the carpet right here, you'll see an offshoot. And that offshoot right there, let me grab a tester and just pull this up out of the way so we can see what's going on under there. Okay, that little black wire right there to the far right, or to the far left, is the wire, for whatever reason, on the 2005 Sequoia leads to the back. I think what I figured out is the wiring does not run here, which is convenient. You think it would be, so you could put your splice up there. I've got to put a splice in here, and then I'm just going to run the excess wire up there under the dash and right around there. Again, this is for the backup. Let me show you where I think those wires run. I think they actually run through there, and up into the center of the console, and I'll show you the reason why you don't want to attempt to splice it in here. This bundle right here to the left, which is directly behind where you pulled your radio out, just below where it was. The radio's up here and you're up right here. This wire for that reverse that runs over to the dash is actually, I believe, bundled inside of this thing, and there's no way to get to it without tearing a lot of stuff up. So these aftermarket radio guys for the Sequoia will tell you to abandon trying to jack with it behind here. And you can see over there that I attempted to locate it over there too, and somebody said they had luck finding it in that white, the bottom white plug, the blue wire, and I could not confirm that. However, when I tied into the back, into that up on top there, the reverse light, it was a blue wire, so it just wasn't a hot lead, and I think that's what you need. So they recommend coming over here, and it's in this bundle here. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and splice there, run the wire up through there, and be done with the reverse connectivity. Okay, I spared you the soldering lesson, but a couple things that I've learned, that if you put the iron actually on the wire to heat it up first a little bit, and then touch the solder actually to it, then it'll melt in, and you want to get it, it's been my experience, the shinier the better. Nothing's going to break that seal, it'll break somewhere else before it breaks there. At any rate, that's it. I'm going to put some tape on it when it cools, and then put a little plastic protector around it, and then test it. When I taped it, I did an initial tape right here around the weld, but then I wanted to tape down lower and go back the opposite direction, strengthening the tape, but also to lay these two wires. We can get a close-up of that, the two running from here to here, so that this wire wouldn't be actually pulling away and tugging on the weld, okay? Because this is going to lay down along that and head up toward the fuse box. So I'll put a little plastic protector on it, and then we'll test. Okay, I got a hard plastic protector around. It's just one of those surrogated things that you can apply. It comes in a package like this. You know, you don't absolutely need it. It's going to be covered, but you know, in case people are stepping on this or something as they're climbing in the vehicle, might be handy. I'm going to tape up a little bit more here, and you can see the wires run underneath, and I'll zip tie it along here, and take it up and run it up and under the dash, and run it over to the box there, and give it a test. Okay. So after I've got the hardened plastic on there, a little extra tape, give it some strength, routed down here, zip tied the line, goes up and under the dash, and it won't take you under there, but just weave your way over and have it pop out back here up against the back of the firewall there. It's supposed to be this green with the white stripe wire coming off the back of the units, your radio. Okay, so once those two are paired together, we can test it. Now, one way is to test this thing, put it into menu mode, go to next. On this particular model, this is the Jensen VX7020. I was testing the navigation. You just heard him squawk. So it says no signal because there's no power to it right now. So if we put this back just on the regular menu, no matter what it's on, once we put it in reverse, there it is. Backup camera's operable. See into my garage there. And when you put it back in park, it goes back to whatever screen you had on. And there is a way to bypass that, to where you're driving down the road, and if you want to come over the camera and hit this, it'll actually turn on and you can see what's going on behind you. You can even record it if you want to. So that's a different video. At any rate, you just simply do a bypass circuit, but you got to run a wire from all the way in the back, and then put a diode on it up here. Okay, so finished tucking away the camera wires now that we've got this one embedded. We've got to actually put this wire right here that I've ran from the back all the way along the headliner. You can just tuck it in by pushing it in with your fingers even. It goes in really smoothly. Tuck that wire, which is the RCA jack wire, from the back of the vehicle that hooks into the camera in the back. I ran it along the headliner without the aid of any tools, just kind of tucking it with my fingers and a putty knife across the, you know, something like that right there. But once I get it over here, the question I have, is it going to be long enough? And I've seen people actually take these out with the airbags in them, and you're supposed to detach the battery out there and everything, but I don't recommend it. I wouldn't mess with this. It's not necessary. You can't see that wire put in there at all. Went in seamlessly. And then right here, I'm going to send it right here through the dash and work it straight across, and hopefully end up with that much slack coming out. It's going to be tight. I've threaded this RCA jack through the dash. However, underneath it became too cumbersome to deal with. So this is the extension that I have left to try and make it over here. What I've done is I grabbed my my fish wire, and you can use a coat hanger, and I ran it along the dash over here and right up tight, trying to maximize the length of shorten the distance over here. And there's the other end of it. So the problem now is, how do I get the wire from here over there? If you ever ran any Ethernet or haven't, just grab you some of this little pole rope from Home Depot or Lowe's. Or better yet, if you got a buddy or a pasture with a field in it, it's just hay twine. That's all basically it is. Pole rope's pretty simple. And you can use anything, nylon string, whatever. You just don't want to go through all that hassle and have it break on you. So I'm going to feed this back over to there, onto this side, and then tie onto the RCA jack and pull it through and be done with that. Okay, tied it on the end there. Should have plenty. I'm just going to slowly pull it back out of here. It's just, you can just see it going in over there. It's just pulled it through onto this outside. So now I got the pull rope and can thread that RCA jack back through there. Okay, this is just how I'm tying this segment on. It's just a technique I use to learn these RCA jacks. You know, if you pull them with just this, without this extra help at the top, then what it wants to do is fold over like that and pull through. Well, you can do that, and we got room under this dash, I think, probably to get away with that. But a simpler technique is to see if I can get to where I can hold it there where you can see it, is to wrap this into a loop scenario. It's just that loop right there. You just loop it on like that. As long as there's tension on it, then it won't come through, it won't pull out, and it'll pull straight through like that. It's just a technique. You don't have to use it whatever way. The goal is to get it to come out over here with enough slack to plug into the back of that rig. Okay, pulled it through, seamless over there. Came out over here with just a couple little tugs, and you can see that it's it's ugly, but it worked. And you can do it, of course, with electrician's tape, which is easier for some, so whatever works. This is just simple to me, and then to undo it, it's a quick release, and away you go.